everybody, welcome back to Cards by the Hill. My name is Jane Hill. So you all seem to like the decoupage ornament that I tried my hand at. So we're going to do another one. We need my Mod Podge. Okay, so if you saw the other video, I used the Mod Podge water-based sealer glue and finish. And it seemed to work for me, so that's the one I'm sticking with. Right, so we just use my little pot. Don't want to get too much in there. Okay, so all I'm going to do is cover it in a coat of this. And when it dries clear. So don't worry about that. And this is obviously for the Dickens tree that I've told you about. I'm making these throughout the year, and then Christmas you'll see me put them all on a tree. Okay. Hopefully you have a go yourself. This is the easiest method that I found to be able to do them. I know there's a lot of YouTubers that have very complicated steps and processes, but I wanted something very simple. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to put that in my vise to dry. Right, so I've just put it in by the neck and use up this last bit of Mod Podge in the pot. And fill in any gaps. Okay, and then we'll leave it to dry. Once that's dry, we'll continue to the next step. Okay, noise in the background is the fan. And as you can hear the idiot revving his car outside. Okay, let's try a deer. Right, so trim down this piece to fit on the ornament. Oh, that's thin. Right, on with our Mod Podge. In goes the deer. And it's gonna have wrinkles. I don't particularly care. There we go. So that's one side. We'll put the smaller deer on there. Yeah. And you know, you don't have to cut them exactly round because you're gonna add paint to them and embellishments and anything you want. So I don't think personally they have to be completely round when you cut them out. Okay, other side. Then it's going back in the vise to dry again. On it goes. And this is for the tree, remember? Doing these ornaments for the tree, which you'll see at Christmas, and I'll put all these ornaments on it in a sort of Dickensian style. I've got some other vintage ornaments and things to go on it, mercury glass ornaments, that sort of thing. There, okay. So we've got the male and the female on there. Alright, so that's going back in the vise. To dry. Then we can come back and continue with it once it's dry. Alright, out comes the ornaments. Here it is. Now with this particular napkin, it was very transparent compared to the balloon one that I did, but it's fine. We're going to touch up the edges and add some colour to it, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so here it is. I've got out some Arteza acrylic paints, Bear Brown, Sky Blue, Snow White, and we're gonna try and add some colour around the outside. And I like to use some makeup sponges, cheap and cheerful. Just keep a pot of them in the craft room. Okay, extra use for an acrylic egg box holder that you'd normally have in your fridge. If you haven't got room for it, keep it in the craft room because you can use it for paints. I'm just putting a little bit of each in there. Okay, now I want to try and add some more blue to the outside. Around the deer. So let's get a bit of blue. I think that's going to be too dark. And dip it in the white. Actually, let's add some blue to the white. Mix it up. So I'm just mixing up some blue and white. To get a lighter blue. I'm just going to add a little smidge of that. Okay, we need a darker blue. I think that blue's the wrong shade. Let's have a look at this one, dreamy blue, metallic dreamy blue. Let's try this one. Let's have a look. I don't know, it could work. Let's try a bit of this one. Obviously it's going to mix with the white. We've got to add some brown. Okay. Might need to dry between coats. So let's add the white and blue on the other side. And of course these containers come with lids. Like that, which you can cover up your paints if you still want to use them the next day, which I will be doing when it's had time to dry. Yeah, some of these napkins I don't think are the best quality, to be honest. Yeah, you can see him quite well, but you can't see the female very well. Okay. So let's let that dry. And we'll come back and do the brown. With the sponges, all I do is cut off the ends. You've got a new sponge again. So I'll cover up the paints till I come back to those, and we'll leave it there for time being. Alright, so I've added some brown paint down here and some little bits of white to the female. There's the male. The blue took quite nicely, so that's fine. What I think I might do is go around the female with some rust colour. Okay, so it's the Rust Effect paste by Art Extravaganza. This is what I used on the balloon one. So I'm just going to go in and start adding it around the edge. And you know, you don't have to add extra layers to it. Or add paint to it if you don't want to. It's up to you. So it's just going to cover the edge of the decoupage. And give it a kind of little frame around the picture. So I'm just going to go around like that. And you can make it as dark as you like, or you can just give it a little faint outline. Doesn't have to be perfect, remember. It's decoupage, so and if there's any bits that you're really not happy with, you can cover them with embellishments or ribbons, anything like that. So, you know, don't worry too much about these things. There we go. I'm just going to go across the top a little bit there. Kind of frame it. There we go. Might add some more light brown down there. With the Stag, don't think he really needs any, to be honest. I think that blue came out quite nice on that side, so I think I'm going to leave it as is. Right, so that's enough of that. So I want to add a little bit more of the brown paints. as I do with these sponges, chop off the used bit. It goes in the bin. And you've got a new sponge again. Yeah, so I want to add a little bit more brown now. And as I said, if you keep the lid on these paints in the egg box, you can use them the next day. I'm just going to put some more brown on the deer. Just to make it a little bit darker. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. So the Stag actually came out quite well, I think. But the dough, yeah, not so good. But it is what it is. We'll make do, decorate it and go from there. So let's just let that dry now and then we'll come back to it. Alright, so here we are back with the stags. And we did our rust around the edge, added a bit more brown to the deer. I think the blue side came out really well, but the dough, you can't really see her, which is a disappointment. But what can you do? Okay. Alright, so mentioned in a previous video that I realised what it was and why it was so transparent. I forgot to paint it before I put the Mod Podge and napkin on. So that's obviously a golden rule. It happened with another one that I did, but I wanted to save it from the bin, so I did what I could do with it, and it's up as a video. And obviously it's going on the tree. So what I did was add 2 or 3 layers of blue to the other side here, because the stag seemed to take fine, but there was a dough on this side and it just did not seem to work at all. So I'm adding a coat of Mod Podge now. And I really like the stag. It's a shame that this one messed up so badly. But obviously, rule of thumb, make sure you add some acrylic paint in the background. Okay, so I'm just adding a layer of Mod Podge. The water-based sealer glue and finish. That's quite a lot on there. Okay, so let's get my napkin. Picture I worked with, and it was this deer here that I put on the other side. Just did not work for lack of paint. So I think we're going to have the stag on this side as well. Let's see how much I cut off here. So I cut off his top antler. And That's roughly it, I think. Okay, so he's going on. Wish me luck. Hopefully it works this time. One coat, one layer. This has got 2 layers. All right. So he's going on. Add the Mod Podge. Oh, that was silly how quick that went. That was absolutely silly how quick that went on. Okay. So it's been rescued, hurrah, because now I can let this dry and then decorate. Well, that was good. I'm glad. Few wrinkles, don't care. So let's let that dry. Okay, so if you head over to part 2, you'll see the remainder of the video. Sorry it's in 2 parts again, but with the uploading situation on YouTube, over half an hour, I have too many problems. So enjoy, and I'll see you on the next one.